Hey, what's up, everybody? Donnie Baker here with the LPR Sound Foundation. Great to see you. Wonderful that you're here. Happy Monday. Let me tell you that straight up. Hopefully your weekend was awesome. Hey, I've got something really cool for you today. I'm bringing back an oldie but a goodie. This is from our Basics of Signal Flow course. This is lesson 3, part B, all about patch bays. I'm going to share that with you, and then when we come back, I'm going to give you this course absolutely free. So we'll see you on the other side. Let's go look at this lesson. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Donnie B, Learner Pro Recording. This is Basics of Signal Flow Part B, the connectivity patch bays in particular. So let's get going. Here we go. This is a patch bay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our patch bay. This happens to be a TT Bantam patch bay, probably the more common in the larger studios. TT patch bays are more common as they take up less room and you get more jacks or more patches in a smaller amount of space. The holes in the patch bay are called jacks. This is actually a map of our actual patch bay in Studio A here at ES Audio Recording Studios in Los Angeles, California. This is actually an updated map. I had to look for a second to make sure this was the updated one. But yeah, this is the updated patch bay map. So what actually is a patch bay? Oh, I'm gonna actually make a PDF version of this downloadable in the download section of this lesson. So look for that. You guys can download this PDF and study it and enjoy it. So what actually is a patch bay? A patch bay is the brain of the studio. Man, if you're tired of climbing behind your racks and trying to find the right cable every time you want to use a piece of outboard gear or console insert point, it might be time to find yourself a patch bay. A patch bay is a central audio connection point area for all the gear in your studio that allows any connection to and from any piece of equipment to be made at one central location with a standardized cable and connector. Patch bays not only save time and headaches, but they also allow you to easily perform any number of mix tricks that would seriously take some head scratching otherwise. So here's the different types of connectors that we can use in patch bays. You have a 1/4-inch connector, TS type, this stands for tip sleeve, a 1/4-inch connector TRS, that's tip ring sleeve, TT Bantam or tiny telephone, RCA, the tiny telephone are probably the most common. The RCA connector is basically unbalanced. XLR is balanced, and they play really well with the 1/4-inch TRS. Video patch bays, F connectors, B and C's, those are more for video patch bays. Not really, you don't really see too many of those in an audio studio. This is actually our mic panel in our main studio, Studio A. There's 20 mic connections coming from the live room into the control room. And this is basically where we plug the microphones into the system. The different types of patch bay configurations: fully normaled, half normaled, parallel, and of course open. We're going to run through each one of these and talk about them, okay? So patch bay configurations explained. It's not that difficult to understand. The fully normaled. Okay, fully normaled, all this means is that it's always connected. You don't have to do anything. It always works without having to use any patch cables. Basically, number 1 is connected to number 1, is connected to number 1, is connected to number 1, and so on. You don't have to do anything. But if you do connect into the top jack of a fully normaled, it breaks the normal. And if you connect into the bottom jack of a fully normaled, it also breaks the normal. Okay, here's a little example. So let's say we plug some microphones in the room. We got, say, 4 microphones plugged in, right? There they go straight into the patch bay and the main live room ends. Okay, they automatically are wired inside. Number 1 is wired inside to number 1, which is going to the audio. The audio is our console. So the audio microphone input, then the audio microphone output goes straight into Pro Tools number 1. Out of Pro Tools number 1, back onto the audience so we can actually monitor it on the DAW input. Okay, this is how it would work in the real world. Okay, we've got our situation set up. It's automatically connected. It automatically goes to the console, out of the console, onto the speakers so that we can hear things. Okay, let's discuss half normaled, which is a little bit more difficult to understand than the fully normal, but it's still really simple. This also means that it's always connected. You don't have to do anything. It always works without having to use any patch cables. But if you do connect into the top jack, it does not break the normal, so the normal continues. If you connect into the bottom jack, it does break the normal. Let me explain a good way that we can use this in a few different ways, okay? Let's demonstrate. So let's say that down here on our, these are our headphone sends, okay, down here, the auxiliary sends out. The Aviom input is our, that's our headphone boxes. What Aviom is a digital headphone mixer, basically, that runs all on Cat 5 or Cat 6 cables. We send those out to the client. The client can then mix their own headphone mix, and it's all digital. It's pretty clean. The power runs through the Cat 5. We just have to have one cable to plug things in, and they sound okay. I mean, they're not like old school analog mixers that we used to use, but they do sound good. So the Audient auxiliary outputs 1 through 6 are already connected to the Aviom 9 through 14, okay? So let's expand on this a little bit, okay? So they're already connected inside. So 1 goes to 9, 2 goes to 10, 3 goes to 11, and so on, okay? That goes out to the client headphones. All right, they're always on. But let's say we want to use the same auxiliary sends to also send to a reverb unit. We can do that. So the auxiliary send is not only feeding the headphones on channel 9, but it's also being fed from auxiliary 1 to the reverb or the delay unit. Okay, so because it did not break the normal, auxiliary 1 is still sending to headphone input number 9 on the Aviom. Okay, but let's say we send something else. So we send something else to channel 9. We have another audio source that we put into channel 9. Then it does break that normal. So auxiliary 1 is no longer sending to channel 9 because we jacked into the bottom row and that broke the normal. Okay, so there's the normal breaking. So we can still use, it still goes out to the client headphones, but it's another audio source. And then channel 1 can also still be used to go to the reverb or the delay unit. That's what a half normal situation can do for you. Okay, so let's look at the next system that the patch bay can be configured in is parallel. This one's pretty simple. All this means that there's more than one jack going to the same place at the same time. They are parallel. Get it? Okay. This can also sometimes be called a mult or multiple. Okay. So we actually have a few of these on our patch bay as well. They are right here where it says that the Audient mix output, the mult. The Audient mix output is essentially the 2-bus or the master fader. Okay, so 1 and 2, or 1 left and 1 right from the Audient mix output, are always on to channels 25 and 26 of Pro Tools input. So if we wanted to print internally we wanted to take a mix from the analog console and print it back into Pro Tools, we would just basically set up a stereo track in Pro Tools with the input of 25 and 26. This is always on, so it's always going to work, okay? These connections are half normal as well, all right? So what happens is we want to send to the we also want to send not only to 25 and 26, but we want to take another set and send it to, we have a Redbook standard CD recorder by Alesis. We could send that out to that CD recorder. And then we can also have an analog mastering tape machine, a 1/2-inch tape machine. We could also send that same mix output to the mastering tape machine at the same time. So all 3 of these are working at the same time. Okay, so let's talk about an open jack on our patch bay. Okay, an open jack simply means that there's nothing connected between the top and the bottom jacks. It just means that it's not being used. It is open. Now, sometimes I've seen people use these as just like an input for a guitar pedal. So you can always get to your guitar pedals if you needed to get a signal into something like that, okay, or an effect pedal or something like that. All right, let's do this, man. Let's make a connection, okay? Let's say that this is our patch bay. Let's say we want to take a microphone number 1 and we want to run it to the Avalon microphone input. Okay, it's right over here. So we're going to take a cable and we're going to plug microphone number 1 into the mic input on the Avalon 737. We're going to take the Avalon 737 out and run it into the Pro Tools input. Essentially, all we did with this is we broke the normal on number 1. So now it's not going to number 1. It's going, the microphone's now going to the Avalon, and the output of the Avalon's going into Pro Tools. We essentially bypassed the console input. That's all. And then the output is always connected. It's fully normal, so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to hear it on channel 1 back on the console. Okay, so now let's take that same scenario and let's add an outboard compressor. Okay, we're going to take channel 1 and run it into the mic on mic input on the 737. Take the output of the 737, run it to the CL1B input, out of the CL1B into channel 1 in Pro Tools. Again, we've bypassed the Audient console. That's still connected on the inside to the Pro Tools output, coming back to the console so we can hear it, and that's where we are. Okay, it's that simple. It really is that simple. Once you guys figure this out and understand, I think once you patch a couple of things a couple of times, you guys are going to get it. Okay, it's always connected. The Pro Tools output is always connected to channel 1 on the console input. So it comes out, again, goes to channel 1, out to the speakers. We turn it up, turn it on. We can actually hear things. Okay, there we go. Let's do some various outboard gear connections. This will be fun. So this can kind of get crazy. It's pretty funny. Let's say we want to send out of. All right, so we're going to take a signal and we're going to send it into the SPX90. Okay, and then we're going to take another signal out of the SPX90 reverb and run it back out so we can actually have it on the console. We can actually hear it. Okay, we're going to feed that with auxiliary 1. That's in turn going to go straight to the input of the reverb. The output of the reverb comes back onto the patch bay so we can see it. We need to patch those out onto a stereo effects return on the console so that we can hear it. These dotted lines basically mean that it's connected. It's always connected on the inside. So the back of the patch bay is always connected to the input and output of the effect unit. Okay, so let's take the same thing with the delay unit. They're always connected right there in the input and the output of the patch bay. Okay, we take auxiliary 2, we feed the input of the PCM70. Okay, the output of the PCM70 goes on to the auxiliary returns 1 and 2 so that we can actually have it in our mix. Okay, so it is that simple. So let's say we want to insert our TubeTech CL1B. That's where it's connected on the patch bay with the dotted lines. It's always connected. We come out of let's do a send and return. Okay, it's an insert. We're going to take the send and we're going to go to the input of the CL1B, out of the CL1B, back to the same return or input back into the channel path there. Okay, that simple. Let's say we want to take a stereo mix bus compression. Okay, we got a stereo 1176 there. It's a stereo version of the 1176. Okay, we're gonna patch out of the mix send. We have an insert on the master bus. We take that out, send it to the in, return it back there, and now we have a bus compression on the master bus compressor with the 1176. Okay, it is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do a review. Do you need a patch bay in your studio? Okay, one way to decide if you need a patch bay in your studio is if you have multiple instruments or outboard gear that you're constantly wanting to run through your signal, take your signal and run it through your normal workflow. You know, you want to plug these things in, right? If you find yourself constantly pulling your interface out, like in this smaller studio I'm in right now, I have an Apollo Twin. I'm constantly pulling this Apollo Twin in and out to plug things in. Fortunately, they have a direct in, a line in on the front for my guitar. But if I got to plug in something into the back, I'm constantly having to plug things in. The jacks on the back of the Apollo Twin are combo jacks, so you can plug a mic or a line into the back of that. All right. I honestly don't need a patch bay in this room. I've only got 2 inputs. I don't mind pulling the Twin in and out if I need to, okay? If you find yourself wishing you could do something that you simply can't because it's a pain in the butt to keep moving things around in your studio to make it happen, like if you got a rack full of outboard gear and you're constantly having to move that rack out so you can plug things in, that you probably want to get a patch bay, okay? Yeah, so today's homework is to look around your studio and see if you might need a patch bay. See if that's something that you need. Okay, and really look at all your gear and see what you got. You know, everybody's going to be different. Everybody's studio is going to be a little bit different. But find out what kind of ins and outs you need, and see what kind of patches you might need. Draw it out on a piece of paper, man. Find out if you're going to need some fully normaled, some half normaleds, however you're going to configure your patch bay. And dude, go get the patch bay. It's going to make your life so much easier and so much more fun to be in your studio, because you're not going to be crawling around underneath your desk. If you need any help with these things, I'm always available. You can always reach out to me. I'm always here for questions and answers. Reach out to me, man. info@learnprorecording.com, or you can actually leave a comment here underneath the video on this lesson module. And I'm always checking it. I can check in, and if it's something that I can help you with, I certainly will we'll contact each other, and we'll figure this out, man. Let's get you going. Let's get going on the next one. We'll talk to you on the next module. Good looking out. Great job today, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, hopefully you got something out of that, man. That was a wonderful. It's a little bit older, but you know what? It comes straight from a college course that I helped develop and write 10 years ago. The college is no longer with us. They've since gone a different route. So I've got my courses back. So I put them together in a free course that I want to share with you. I want to share this with you, man. Go to learnprorecording.com/basics, all lowercase. I'm gonna give you this for free. All you got to do is give me an email. That one is yours for free. So enjoy the course, man. The course is pretty cool. It's got signal flow. It's all about signal flow, including patch bays, but it goes through the signal flow of a console. It actually shares with you hybrid mixing, the mixing between digital and analog, which is really cool, which is what I do back here every day. And I love my job, by the way. So I want to share with you guys and show you how I do it. And just, I really want you to embrace that. Even if you got to get a little, one of them little tiny Behringer mixers and run your stems through there, it's still awesome because you're touching on analog. It's amazing. But yeah, go check out the course, man. Again, it's learnprorecording.com/basics. 100% free. Gonna give it to you. And it'll take you a couple hours to get through. It's not a very long course at all, but it's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool information in there I think you'll enjoy. So go forth. Have a wonderful week. We got some really cool stuff coming up in December. I can't wait to share with you. Of course, we got to get through Thanksgiving first. So let's deal with all the family stuff that we got to deal with. And of course, there's the food. So think about it. So a lot coming up, but a lot of changes coming in December. I'm going to be talking to you about it in the next few weeks. So go forth, have a great week, and we'll see you on the next side. My name is Donnie Baker. Oh, if you want some mixing help, I'll leave a link right here to another video where you can go download some files and do some mixing. So we'll see you next time. Donnie B. I'm out.